Thank you, everyone, for joining us here at the virtual Princeton Public Library. My name is Nora, and I'm part of our program team and adult services staff. We are delighted to be offering an autumn of business programming, and we hope that you will find this extremely informative and beneficial. We have Kathy Guzman here from the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, the EDA, and she's going to be talking about growing your business with NJEDA grants and loans. A couple of quick housekeeping items. We do have the chat and Q&A box open. Please feel free to use them. We will ask your questions either throughout if needed, or at the end we'll bundle the questions. We are going to be recording the presentation, although not the Q&A. So if you have other specific questions you want to ask, you can do that outside of the recording. And we will also be providing a copy of the slides to you following the presentation. You'll find that there's a lot of information on there, so we want you to make sure that you can access that information after the fact. I'm, again, very delighted to introduce Kathy Guzman, who is a Senior Small Business Liaison for the EDA. Her role is to share information and educate business owners and community stakeholders about opportunities available to small businesses in New Jersey, as she's doing tonight. Her background is as a marketing, advertising, and public relations. She ran a marketing, advertising, and public relations company serving the unique needs of small businesses. She also served as business development advocate in the Flemington, New Jersey Business Improvement District. She's passionate about sharing information and improving equal access to opportunity for New Jersey small business owners. Kathy, we are delighted to have you here with us tonight, and thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nora, and thank you to Princeton Library for hosting this webinar. Thank you to everyone on the webinar for joining me. I know it's the end of the day, so I appreciate it. This is really valuable information, so I really am glad you're here. As Nora said, don't worry about every last detail. I'm going to send her a copy of the slides and she will send them to you, so you don't have to worry about taking notes. You will get these slides. There's also a lot of information on here. I'm not going to go through every last detail because that would take too long, but I'm going to share the important highlights with you. In case I lose some of you, because it is late at night, I moved my contact info up front so you can all take a screenshot of it. So that's me. Nora told you all about who I am. The bottom line is that I'm passionate about sharing information and connecting businesses to resources. That is my job. You can take a picture of this. You can share my contact information with anybody. I cover 7 counties from Warren all the way down to Ocean. I also have been known to, be with businesses up in Sussex County and down in Cape May. We have a team of business liaisons that are really here to help small business owners. So let's dive right in. So I work for the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. We're the state's principal agency for driving economic growth in New Jersey. I know there's a lot of words on there. Bottom line is we want to create good paying jobs, foster innovation and sustainable economic growth, provide equitable access to opportunity, and build strong communities. These are some of the awesome people that receive some grants through the EDA. There's about 60 programs at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. I am not going to cover all of them today. If you are interested in looking at the breadth and depth of the programs that we have, go to njeda.gov. Actually, if you do /active programs, you'll see a list of all the active programs. Today, however, I'm going to focus exclusively on grant and loan programs for small businesses. I'm a little biased, but I think that the small business programs are among the best programs that we have at the EDA. So let's dive right in. We're going to start with grants, and then we're going to talk a little bit about loans. Okay, so the small business grant programs through the Economic Development Authority are open to every small business in New Jersey, with 2 small exceptions, and that would be cannabis and firearms. To be eligible as a small business, you have to be what we call the Small Business Administration definition of a small business. And that really can be small and medium and large. It can be hundreds of employees. It can be millions of dollars. You could be a mom and pop that doesn't even have anybody on payroll just yet because you're just starting out, or you could be an established business that's been around for many years. These programs are open to commercial businesses and nonprofit organizations. If anybody out there is from a nonprofit, there's a few specific caveats to make sure your nonprofit is eligible, and we could talk about that at the end. But in general, the programs are open to nonprofits as well. So I'm going to talk about several different grants. These grants are what you call, these grants are stackable, meaning if you're eligible, you can apply for more than one. This first program, the eligibility requirements are quite specific, so it may not be for everybody, but it can really be a very valuable program. It's the Small Business Lease Grant. It provides two grants at 20% of the annual lease payment for business or nonprofits entering a new lease. So the way it works is you get one payment upon grant approval and the second payment after 1 year. So it must be for a new lease, 5-year term or longer, and a ground floor space. The only way a business that is renewing a lease can be eligible is if they add square footage to that lease. Okay. Again, ground floor space, 5-year term or longer, and it's 20% of the annual lease payment for the first 2 years. This is a great program for an established business that may be moving to a new space or adding on to their existing space. A business can apply per location. So an established business that maybe is opening a second location, they could also apply for this program. The grant is for anywhere from 250 to 10,000 square feet. If a business is larger than 10,000 square feet, the grant is paid on that first 10,000 square feet. So this is I'm sorry. There was something important I wanted to say here. Yes, a business can apply per location. Um, and there are some important requirements that go along with this program and the other one. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I pointed out. Um, there is a requirement that your business stay in the space for 5 years. And then there's a requirement that everybody on payroll, every employee on your payroll must be paid 20% over minimum wage. Now, that wage requirement does not go into effect until the grant is approved, but it does make sense to do some math and see if that is going to work for your business. Now, the wage requirement of 20% above the minimum wage is the whichever minimum wage applies to your business. So it could be the tipped wage if you're paying a tipped wage if you own a restaurant, or a small employer wage, or the regular minimum wage. So I just wanted to point that out because that is important, and that does go into effect upon grant approval. So the two requirements are that you have to agree to stay in the space and that you have to agree to pay 20% over minimum wage. It's also important to note that a business can apply for this grant as soon as they have a signed lease. In fact, they have to apply within 12 months of signing the lease. So the good news is that if you are a business that is perhaps relocating to a newer, bigger space and you sign that lease, you can apply for that grant immediately upon signing the lease. You don't have to wait till your build out is done, till you have your CO. As long as you have a valid lease, you can apply for the grant. So it can be helpful in getting some working capital into your business in those early stages while you're doing your build out and getting ready to move into your new space. The next program is the Small Business Improvement Grant. This is a much broader program. This is open to small businesses and nonprofits. It's open whether your business is on the first floor, the fifth floor. Um, it is open whether your lease is 5 years or your lease is 2 years. It doesn't matter. If you own the property and you operate a business out of it, you're also eligible. It's also open to home-based businesses on a very limited basis. This is our most popular program. We have the most applications for this program. The turnaround time for a completed application is between 5 and 6 months because there are so many applications in the queue. And that's just because it's a fabulous program. Again, it's open to every small business in the state with those few exceptions I mentioned. So this is a reimbursement grant. It provides up to $50,000 reimbursement for costs associated with facility improvements, build out, the purchase of new equipment, new furniture, fixtures. This can be equipment specific to your type of business. So just keep in mind it's for everybody, right? So if it's a mom and pop restaurant, obviously your refrigerator, your stove, your build out, your furniture, your signage. Um, it could be a manufacturing business. It could be a warehouse that has a forklift in it. It could even be a farm, right? So every small business could potentially be eligible. Couple things I just want to point out. It does have to be new equipment, so nothing used or pre-owned, and there can be no leases on that equipment. Okay, if it says lease, even if it's a lease to buy out at $1, it is not eligible. However, equipment that is financed, if there's a finance agreement in place, that could be eligible. Okay. This program is a reimbursement grant. So you as a business owner has to complete the work or pay somebody to do the work. The work has to be completed and paid for, and then you can apply. There's a 2-year look back period. So when a business applies, you can look back 2 full years at any expenses that fall underneath the grant. So again, furniture, fixtures, equipment, improvements, upgrade. It really is quite broad. It could be any type of construction at that business location. It could be equipment that you need to run your business. It could be your signage, your security system, your phone system. And again, it could be equipment that's specific to your type of business, like, a printing press for a printer. Again, a reimbursement grant, reimbursement at 50% up to 50,000. So if your business had $100,000 worth of expenses and they're all eligible, you would get back 50. If your business had $150,000 worth of expenses, you would only get back 50. It maxes out at 50. You could combine multiple items across that 2-year period. It doesn't have to be just one project. Say you did a small renovation on a bathroom at your business location, and then, 6 months later, you bought a couple new computers. Maybe you put a new sign out front a few months after that. Those things can all go on to your grant application and be combined. A business can apply only one time per EIN, so one time per lifetime of the program. Um, You must provide documentation proving payment. This is where sometimes people get a little bit stuck. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of, I'm just going to give you some important tips. Um, there has to be a paper trail for all your payments. Okay. So whether that's a canceled check, a credit card receipt, a bank draw where it came out of your bank, we will need to see the payment. Invoices from contractors will need to be detailed with all the detailed work and when it was done. The date has to be on there. Your business address has to be on there. Having all those detailed receipts are really important. We're really good stewards of your taxpayer money, so we're going to always ask to see that paper trail. I mentioned at the beginning that home-based businesses are eligible. A home-based business is eligible only for furniture and equipment that is used exclusively for their business. So for a lot of home-based businesses, this program doesn't make sense, but sometimes it does. So it could be your desk, your chair, your computer, your printer, your monitor. I have worked with some home-based photographers, videographers, folks that have a lot of expensive equipment, and they've taken advantage of this program. As long as the total amount of the expenses for your home-based business comes to $5,000 or more, you're eligible to apply. If it's less than 5,000, then you're not eligible to apply. And again, you do have that 2-year look back period in order to look. You can look back 2 full years and put those expenses on one application. Just like the small business lease grant, there's a wage requirement and a time requirement. So again, everyone on payroll must be paid 120% of minimum wage upon grant approval. I'll stress that so you don't have to give anybody a raise if you have a few folks at minimum wage until your grant is approved. But once your grant is approved, your grant agreement is going to ask you to agree that everyone on payroll is going to get 120% of minimum wage and that you're going to stay in the space. In the case of the Small Business Improvement Grant, the agreement will ask you to stay either 2 years or 4 years, depending on the amount of your grant. $25,000 or less, it's 2 years, $25,000 or more, it's 4 years. And the wage requirement would be the same time period, either 2 or 4 years. Important point about the wage requirement. If you are a home-based business, or say you are a startup and you and your family are working at the business and you don't have anyone on payroll yet, you're not taking money out of the business yet to pay yourself, you are still eligible. Okay, when you are filling out the grant application and it asks you for a wage report, you just upload a note that says at this time there's nobody on payroll. Now, once you add someone on payroll, you will be subject to that wage requirement, but just know that you're not disqualified if you don't have anyone on payroll yet. And while I'm on that point, if you are a brand new business and you're filling out the application and there's a place where it says they want 3 years of tax returns, if you do not have those yet because you're a new business, you are still eligible. Same thing, you would just upload a note saying that I'm a new business, don't have my tax returns yet. Okay, so just wanted to point that out because sometimes people do misinterpret that. So new businesses are eligible. If you don't have anybody on payroll, you are eligible as well. So that's a small business improvement grant. So we started with the lease grant, the improvement grant, and now we're going to talk about the e-commerce support program. This program is different than the other programs in the way it is run. There is no online application through the EDA. There is no wage requirement. This program provides free e-commerce and digital marketing services to restaurant, retail, and personal care businesses with a physical business location. So it's a little more limited. Again, restaurant, retail, personal care with a physical business location. It's a grant of services. It was designed to help small businesses upgrade their technology and address an area where a lot of small businesses were exposed during the pandemic. People didn't have a place where you could order online. So this is giving businesses and a second sales channel, an online and e-commerce sales channel. So the program is consultant led and there is no cost to the business owner. The way it works is that you as a business owner would reach out to one of the consultants who are contracted with the EDA, and the EDA would pay the vendor directly for their services once the work is done. So once you're deemed eligible, and you would again reach out directly to the vendor, and I'll give you a list of those. It's quite simple. Once you're deemed eligible, you'll meet with the vendor and they'll give you a proposal for the services that your business needs. It always has to include e-commerce. That's the key part of the program, but it's also going to include web page design, appointment booking, search engine optimization, marketing, or training. There actually are two distinct types of e-commerce. It could be online ordering or appointment booking, depending on the type of business. There is such great value in this program. And let me give you here's some of the amazing benefits that there are. You're going to get a user-friendly e-commerce platform. You're going to get improved online presence. You can sell gift cards, merchandise, or packages. They're going to give you a digital marketing plan, which is going to tell you how to market your website. They will not pay for ads, but they'll tell you how you should market your website. There's training, very important. There's training involved so that once the project is completed, you can update the website yourself. Again, no cost to eligible businesses, easy to get started. We talked earlier about the wage requirements. Sometimes that can be an issue for some restaurants. This program does not have the wage requirement and there's no investment out of the business owner's pocket. So this is really such a great program. Here's the list of the consultants. You can reach out directly to them, tell them that you're interested in the NJEDA program. You can do a little bit of research and see who you think is a good fit for you. You're really free to work with whichever consultant that you would like to. So next up is what's called the Main Street Acquisition Support Grant. So this is a newer program. It's a pilot grant program. And what it does is it offers reimbursement for closing costs if you're able to purchase a property to operate your business from. So essentially, if you can purchase a commercial property, you can apply to be reimbursed for the closing costs up to $50,000. Generally, closing costs are everything that's going to be on what's called the HUD-1, and that's a closing document, and that's all those costs, attorney's fees, inspections, points, whatever it may be, all the things that are on the HUD-1 you can apply to be reimbursed for. Now, your business must occupy at least 1,000 square feet or more of the space. However, it could be a mixed use with other commercial or residential tenants. And this program, just like the other ones, is open to both small businesses and nonprofits. And just one important point, it's called the Main Street Acquisition Support Grant. It's really for any business in any location. It does not have to be on a main street. Just a couple other important terms. It has to be a new purchase. It can't be a refinance. It can't be vacant land. It can't be residential use only. Again, your business has to occupy at least 1,000 square feet. This program also has a wage requirement. For this program specifically, there's going to be a deed restriction, and this one has a $500 application fee. I failed to mention the application fee for the other programs. I know that you saw that was on there. All application fees are due upon approval, so you do not pay an application fee until your grant is approved. And in the case of the other programs, the lease grant and the improvement grant, that application fee is $100. Next, we're going to move on, and I'm going to talk a little bit about financing. I know people think of NJEDA and Economic Development Authority as a source for grants, but we also do lending. We lend directly to businesses, and we also support banks in lending to small business owners. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but it's just really important that everybody knows, because this is just another wonderful resource available to businesses and nonprofits in the state. So the first program is the New Jersey Capital Access Fund. This is a wonderful program. I love this because it leverages community development financial institutions, which are nonprofit lenders, to offer a working capital loan product to New Jersey-based small businesses and nonprofits. The reason I love this so much is because this program really filled a big need, in my opinion. A business or a nonprofit only has to be in business 1 year in order to qualify for this loan. You have to be able to demonstrate the ability to repay the loan through revenue. There's no specific collateral required. There's no minimum credit score. So oftentimes businesses in the early stages have a hard time lending because they haven't been in business long enough. They don't have enough of a history. So this product really fills that need. So it's a working capital loan fund. So working capital is for things like payroll, supplies, inventory, rent, or marketing, things that you need to grow your business. It's not for real estate and not for equipment, but for everything else you need to grow your businesses. This one is open to small businesses and nonprofits with less than 50 employees and annual revenue of $10 million or less. And again, you must be in business 1 year, and you just have to demonstrate the ability to repay the loan through cash flow. It's a term loan, and I know everybody's probably out there wondering, well, what's the interest rate? So interest rates vary. Right now, it's between 8 and 10.5%. So better than a credit card for sure. And there's no prepayment penalty if you decide you want to pay back the loan earlier. There is a website where you would go to, you see it right on the slide, NewJerseyCapitalAccessFund.com. You can fill out what they call a pre-application, put your basic information in there, and one of the lenders will reach out to you. I do want to stress that if for some reason you do apply and you're not approved, the lender will offer you counseling to explain to you why your business or nonprofit did not qualify and what you can do differently next time to ensure that you do qualify. So that counseling piece is part of it. So if for some reason you are not approved, please make sure you take advantage of that counseling piece. So again, this is a capital access fund, and it's specifically for working capital, and it's for small businesses, $10 million or less, no specific collateral required, and no minimum credit score. So now we're going to move on to our more traditional financing. Traditional financing meaning that you need collateral in order to borrow from these funds, just like you would if you go to a bank. So these programs are open for for-profit and nonprofit businesses in New Jersey. Low interest rates. It's based on the Treasury for the full loan term. Now it's going to be the Treasury plus points, but still, I think the Treasury today was like around 4 something. So they can be really low rates compared to the market. Again, no prepayment penalties. For real estate, it can be up to 100% of the value of the real estate, and for equipment, it could be 90%. So I know there's a lot here, so I'm just going to do super high level. If an owner has 10% or more, they're going to have to personally guarantee the loan. Collateral is required. Loan decisions are based on the business's ability to repay, evaluated through cash flow. So this is for commercial property, can be working capital and equipment. We do not provide financing for construction, renovation, startups, or home-based businesses. So first one is a small business fund. You can borrow up to $500,000 for operating expenses, commercial real estate, or equipment for small businesses with annual revenues of $3 million or less. This is really a pretty straightforward loan product. A business or nonprofit must be in operation 1 year, 3 years for a nonprofit. You must have a personal guarantor with a minimum credit score of 680. And there's a minimum fee of, a fee of $300 and a commitment fee and a closing cost fee. So this is a great option for small businesses who are looking to borrow $500,000 or less. The next product is the direct loan. Now, this provides small businesses and nonprofits who are committed to job creation the opportunity to borrow up to $2 million. So once you get past that small business loan and once you borrow more than $500,000, then there's a job creation or retention requirement. Remember at the very beginning, I said one of the things that we want to do is create good paying jobs. So here, once you get over $500,000, a business has to commit to create or retain one full-time job for every $65,000 borrowed. That's within 2 years of closing. So either retaining an existing job or creating new job or a combination of both. And again, this is also based on the Treasury rate. Application fee is a little bit more, $1,000. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but again, this is called the direct loan. Next up is our Premier Lender program, very similar to the direct loan, but it is done in partnership with your bank. So say you work with a bank in New Jersey and you want to borrow $1 million from them, and the bank says, you know what, our underwriters only want to give you $500,000. Your bank, or you can request that they bring in the Economic Development Authority to underwrite part of the loan. So these are all the folks that are premier lenders with the EDA, and that list is always growing. From what I understand from the banking team, they're always happy to talk to your bank. So just know that this is another option for you. You can work in partnership with your bank and the EDA. You as the borrower make one payment to the bank, and we're subordinate to the bank on the loan. So it's pretty straightforward for you. This also can sometimes bring the interest rate down for the borrower as well. And that's called the Premier Lender Program. So here's an example. This is a nonprofit that we worked with in Burlington. They received a $280,000 loan from that small business fund. So that was the one that I talked about, $500,000 or less, no job creation requirement. So they received a loan from the EDA. Then they made some improvements on the property. They applied to be reimbursed, and they received a $32,000, 397 grant for the purchase of new furniture and equipment. They also received $6,300, which is reimbursement on the closing costs for that Main Street acquisition grant. So sometimes when you stack all these programs together, you get like a happy result like this. And these programs are all stackable if it applies to your business or, in this case, your nonprofit. So when you are ready to apply, I would urge you to go to the website um, and look at all the documentation that is there for the specific program. The application checklist is your best friend. Once you go through that application checklist step by step, you'll be in really good shape. Because we are a part of your state government, we're very thorough. Like I said, we're good stewards of the taxpayer dollars, which is a great thing for you as a taxpayer. If as a grant applicant and as someone who's borrowing money, we're going to ask you for a lot of documentation. However, in terms of the grants, as long as you have the documentation, if you meet the requirements, you will get the funding. When it comes to lending, it's a different story. It's going to be based on your ability to repay. So this application checklist is really a great tool. Please make sure that you use these. Also, I am happy to talk to anybody if they're thinking about applying for one of the grants or the loans. You can book a time on my calendar and I can walk you through it. I do ask that you read over the requirements, look at the frequently asked questions, look at the application checklist before we talk. But I am happy to kind of walk you through it. I can't sit down next to you and help you fill it out, but I can really answer a lot of questions and point you in the right direction. I'm always happy to do that. It's part of my job. So I think we are going to open it up to questions, and I hope I didn't go too fast. Does anybody have any questions? Nora, do you have any questions? Did I miss anything important?
I didn't see anything, pardon me, submitted yet.
Okay,
But we can go ahead and stop the recording if you're set, and then we can open it up more fully to questions.
sure.
Any other parting information to share? Again, we have your information on the screen. NJEDA's website is available to all who want to explore that. Um,
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to folks, and the most important thing to know about the grants is that they are non-competitive. As long as a business meets the requirements, they will get the funding. And that is going through an application checklist and providing all that documentation. It's not difficult, it's just a little bit time consuming. But again, they are non-competitive grants. So as long as the business meets the requirements, they'll get the funding, and we have funding available. I'm not sure, but I'd say for at least the next year is my best guess. So there is ample funding available. So please, if you think your business is a fit, please don't hesitate, take advantage of them and reach out to me. I'm happy to help and answer questions.
all right. Well, thank you again for being with us. I'm going to stop the recording here and have a
Sure.
wonderful night.